And we are live on the Red Pill News. Welcome to the Red Pill. Take the red pill, open your eyes, and see what's going on out there for real. Man, oh man, I don't know whether my eyes are getting better or I have really good TV right now. I was looking at Joe Biden, and man, does he look decrepit and like just he looks like he's like just hanging on by a thread. The energy I got off him was like, oh my god, this guy ain't gonna make it. He looks unbelievably worse than even from a few months ago. So the presidency takes a toll on people, whether they're even really in it. You have to question whether he's really in it. He just kind of a corporate spokesman, and he's got to handle these questions. That the wacky sacky that he's got there. She's a trip, man. It's very strange. It's like a whole alien race just kind of took over, and they're not real people. They're kind of just puppets or something. So whatever. I think that the U.S. is in big trouble, and it's gone from bad to to turbulent to worse to I don't know whatever's next. You need to decide if you live in the U.S. I mean, I know a large chunk of my audience is outside the U.S., but even if you are, I mean, what we do affects you too. It's not like you know our actions aren't just have an independent impact upon ourselves. So whatever. You need to go forward. You need to be happy into your life. Be like the Buddha. When all the chaos was going on and all the demons was offering the Buddha all this stuff, he sat in front of his fig tree and he basically wigged out, man. I mean, if you can do that, if you can sit in front of your fig tree and meditate and all the stuff is coming at you and going on or whatever, and you can just chill during that, then you can be the tree in the flood with deep roots. That's right. You can hold on, and get past all the chaos. So I just see the whole Afghanistan thing, and logistically it was a nightmare. They did the opposite of what they should have done. The military should have gone last, and also bring back our weapons. The things that we have, our assets on the ground, but that that didn't happen. It was pandemonium, and still. So now, for people to get out of there, they gotta go through these blockades of Taliban, and God only knows what they're gonna do to people. So I love how the media plays it, though. Like these Americans who are stuck there, and they're striking at people's sense of patriotism when really it's Americans with a small a. You know what I mean? Like many of these people were kind of signed on because they were helping out in different capacities. I'm not going to hate on that. What I'm going to hate on is that those people, those individuals, knew this was coming. It wasn't like they didn't. It's not like all of a sudden you're struck by a meteor and you didn't know it was coming. Boom, middle of the night. No, they knew this was coming days and days and days away, like a really slow hurricane. You could see it. They knew it was months away. They should have made plans. They should have mobilized. Should have gotten out of there. They didn't for whatever reason. Maybe the politics behind it. Maybe people didn't believe it. I don't know. Whatever it was, and they could have brokered a deal with this Taliban, even though I know that I know what they are because the whole, and again, you'll see the media portray the Taliban. They're terrorists and they brutalize women. That's what they're on that kick now. They brutalize women. They do all these terrible things. Yeah, yeah, they all do in those regions. They all do. Tell me where they don't. You're talking about, especially when you go into those tribes up there in the northern regions and all that, man. They live very primitively. there's people who live in a technological world like us. If you have access to the show, you're in a technological world, right? We are like aliens to these other people because they live in such a primitive world. Mankind hasn't really reached as a whole to evolve, right? If you want to call partaking in the technological world evolving, which I think it is for many reasons. But these guys are riding horses and camels with their swords. They live by the sword. They die by the sword. You have other tribes in the world who are in loincloths running around, head hunters, right? Cannibals. Oh, you can't disturb them because they're, you can't mess with their culture and that type of thing. We've got the prime directive already, don't we? We can't step in and change them in any way. Remember that crazy religious guy who went to the island off of the coast of India, and he went approached a tribe that doesn't deal with mankind. They're very aggressive. If you even go near there in a boat, they're like out there threatening you with their arrows. This guy went there to push Jesus on him. You know what that got him? He was a Happy Meal that night. You know what I'm saying? And then people are appalled and outraged. Oh my God, we can't believe it. Believe it. Why can't you believe it? Why can't people believe it? Why are you shocked when the obvious thing happens? Is that just stupidity, deluded, ignorance? I don't know. I don't know. I know that COVID-19 is raging. You still have the group of people out there. I don't believe it. I'm not getting vaccinated. So I use the mask as an intelligence test. If I see people not wearing it, I already know what I'm dealing with. The same for the vaccination. If you tell me that, you don't believe in the vaccination, you don't believe in all this, yeah, all right. You don't have to say anymore. I don't have to convince you, and you don't have to convince me of anything. But that's what people try to do. That we live in a world of fake outrage, and then inside of that, people need to convince each other of stuff. I don't like your views, so I'm going to convince you that you're wrong. Piss off, man. What do you care about my views? You know, what are you on different army? Is it are we fighting a war? The hell do you care? I'm an American. I have my views. I'm a citizen of the earth. I have my views. I'm a person of the universe. I have my views, and they are what they are. Just like you, just like anybody out there. You're not wrong for your views. Maybe if you're full of hate or something like that, or if you've got something going on that will damage you, that's different. But especially politics. And me personally, I wasn't a Trump fan. If you listen to the show, you know that. And I'm not a Biden fan. I'm not a fan of any of these people because I think they represent something that is unholy and evil. I think they represent something that restricts people from being everything that they can be. So they also keep people down for a specific horrible purpose of dividing them so they can throw on one side of bone, throw the other side of bone, and then they can all fight it out over each other, So it's like that. Which brings me to Britney Spears. I'm saddened for Britney Spears, right? Not really. Actually, I could care less. I think it's actually the picture I'm looking at is Britney Spears standing there in bikini short, underwear, whatever it is, bikini, like a bathing suit, bottom, white, pretty small, with some, I think, red boots. So, she's all her taste is in her mouth, man. Yeah, the red boots and no top, and she has her hands covering her boobs, and she's making this weird kind of face. And I'm scrolling through the news stories, and this is news, by the way, right? It's sad. Well, it's like on Facebook. Whenever you see women that have to really show off their boobs for attention. It's attention. It's a desperate grab at attention. She's grabbing at attention from world attention. She's going back in time, talking about songs from 20 some years ago, talking about Justin Timberlake and she's living in the past because her current reality is so horrible. Her boyfriend's that Iranian dude. He's got a horrible attitude towards anyone and everything. You don't think that he's abusive? I'll guarantee that he is, man. Just off of the things that he says. He's an aggressive, nasty tool. But he's got her wrapped around his finger because he's 26-year-old, great body, good looking bodybuilder, right? Or a fitness instructor. So here she is, like, just look at my boobs. And this is how a musician defines themselves. This is, oh, let me show my top. It's really so desperate and so sad. And you can see why she has a conservatorship. You can see why she's not in control of her own money, and that she's got severe problems. I mean, she was in a mental institution until her father helped her get out, and then she attacked him. But she just looks like a woman who's basically 40, trying to stay relevant by just posing topless, not coming out with an amazing song, not like doing something or some humanitarian work where you actually help somebody do something, posing just topless. And it's sad because a lot of the you see, this is for the internet, right? It's a double-edged sword. You'll get the attention, it just may not be good attention. And then people will come out and say whatever, and then you have to absorb that. There are many of these social influencers who've committed suicide because of a shift in all of this. These people are living through clicks and likes and as online and trash, and that's like their primary focus. And it's like, what did they do before that, right? Let me read you the story, though. Britney Spears is posing topless on Instagram frequently because she wants to look at herself in the purest form. This is what she said. She wants to look at herself in the purest form, right? The toxic singer shared more topless photos of herself Monday and explained the reason for the increased nudity on her profile. And it's not because of plastic surgery or a pregnancy. No, guys, I didn't get a boob job in just a week, nor am I pregnant. I have boobs in these pics because I devour food. She began her lengthy caption. Before I show you more pics of my body, I want you to understand my thoughts on exposing my skin. See, this is just so desperate, you know? I don't know. She needs more than a conservatorship, I think. I think that, she's hit the wall. She knows that she's not relevant anymore. She's already, that already happened. She already had her mental breakdown because she was, you know, uh, a household name. She was on top. She was performing these shows in front of huge crowds. All that glitz and glamour, right? The red carpet, all that stuff. The best of the best. Private aircraft flying around, doing whatever you want to do. Get on your plane 1 o'clock in the morning and fly out to LA or fly to New York, fly around the world, go to Paris. When they have money like that, they can do whatever they want to do. That's how she burned up all her money, right? Spears, 39, explained to her devoted fans and followers that she feels better naked after growing increasingly insecure about her body while performing. This is a long time ago. And her fans that she's referring to, they're not little 12-year-olds anymore or 16-year-olds. These are grown women. They're her age, basically, around there. Some younger, some older. And when you see these, like back in the day when I used to do a lot of shows and I was an entertainment writer on Long Island. So I'd be going 7 days a week, different clubs, arenas, whatever. And you see these bands that are older bands, and here they are, they're still performing, smaller venue, and then you see the people who turn out, and they're old people. It's just kind of cute, they follow that thing, that little, hey, that's the ones who are, basically the ones who, I don't know, they're diehard fans, the ones who support them, right? David Hasselhoff, man, when that guy had hooked on the feel, he was like huge in what was that? It wasn't German, Austria. He'd go to Austria and he was like number one before Baywatch. He was like number one in Austria. Very funny, man. I like fans. I like seeing the fans. I like seeing people excited. I never got excited to see a band in my life. There's bands that I like, the music that I like. Much of the live music experience is not. If you're an audiophile, it's not. It's kind of lost on you because of all of the noise, basically, it goes on. But it's more about the being there for people. They're all happy. They're like, yeah, it's like that. It's fun, especially a little bit of alcohol. It goes a long way. It can be fun anyway. So Brittany says, I mean, I don't want anybody to see the big dimple on my ass, but I feel like performing made me too self-conscious about my body, and that's not attractive, she explained, adding that I guess adding that being naked makes her feel lighter after living with the weight of world on her shoulders. It's always something like that with people who have that type of problem. I knew somebody who I did an investigation on, a paranormal investigation. This dude, it's not funny either. The guy had jumped in front of her van to commit suicide, man. Like she was going 60 miles an hour down the road on a highway. And it was like a Rascal Flats concert. The guy just, boom, jumped in front of her and killed himself. And that woman driving, I mean, she had five of her children in the car from, I think 5 years old up to 17 years old. And just, they're all traumatized. And she was a nurse and all that. She kind of took a leave of absence and started drinking, and then stopped eating and just wanted to feel empty. There was like, she wanted to feel just empty. And like, you can get a lot of help. You can go to psychologists. There's no guarantee that's going to work. And it's been my experience from seeing other people go through it. It's not really something that helps. And there is, I think, this, right? All you need is some good friends, and you don't need a whole bunch. You just need a couple people who know you, who you can confide in, not ass kissing sycophants or any of that stuff, but just real people. And some people don't even have that. They don't have that because they had drove those people away. So my advice is to look for those friends who knew you best, that you were closest to from back in time, if they are available, right? And reach out to them and apologize, man, and kind of make those, rebuild those bridges, because those people know you. They know the real you even before this Britney became, Britney. So, and yeah, she's probably just another bubblehead, high school bubblehead, walking through the halls, singing songs and whatever, wanting to be famous, and she got it. She was able to achieve something that not a lot of people can achieve, you know. And just like Burt Reynolds, right? When he fell. In fact, he's not even a good example, because he kind of stayed. He was obscure for a while, and then came back as a popular favorite from the olden days. And he was a cute, dirty old man, as people would say. All right, but who's that guy from the Partridge Family? Oh, David Cassie. Talk about a mental crash, right? This is a guy who was really popular. I mean, I know Partridge Family, a TV show, but they had a band, they had an album, but this guy independently would go out and perform, right? This is day and age of, the Beatles were out, people going crazy. The Beatles set the bar as to what was acceptable. as to these girls ripping your clothes off and going crazy, and these guys, they, now famous people can walk right in front of you, and nobody's like, ah, nobody cares. You know what I mean? Back in the day, they would like get together these large herds and chase them down or destroy places, man, destroy hotels and whatever place that they're in, just to get at them, and they'd have to kind of just fool people when they moved them around. So pretty cool that there was that kind of enthusiasm, and now there's none. But you know why now there's none? It's because of the total access to media, and people get desensitized. So over the years, you see these famous people over and over and over again, and here they are interacting, and they even, like, when they go on these talk shows and they talk about themselves personally, or even politics and whatever, they humanize themselves to the point where it makes them not as in demand, I guess. Anyway, that's just my view on it. My humble opinion. So, Brittany says, I am a woman, a beautiful, sensitive woman who needs to look at myself in the purest form. Wow. So, why can't you stand in front of a mirror naked, right? What's wrong with that? No, I'm not going to do topless pics for the rest of my life because that would get boring, but it sure as hell helps when you need to be enlightened. Taking a topless pic of yourself helps when you need to be enlightened. She is crazy, man. She's crazy. Just examine that sentence, right? No, I am not going to do topless pics for the rest of my life cause that would get boring, but it sure as hell helps when you need to be enlightened. Wow. So I'm not stopping her from taking topless pics. I think that the topless pics are probably more entertaining than her music ever was, man. You know what I mean? I saw her as nothing more than a tool of Pepsi and or Coca Cola, whatever the hell she represented. It's just these people are walking billboards. They're ads. They're not musicians. They don't have musical intent. They don't write songs that light your mind on fire. These are just pop musicians. They're there to sell soda. You know, that's it. Maybe some makeup, whatever the else they sell. Maybe some Jello pudding. I don't know. Whatever they throw at them. I was watching Rapino, and we're going to be talking about her in a minute. The soccer player, right? And of course, the USA, I don't know. They did terrible. They didn't win. They were really embarrassed themselves in front of the world and how they played. These are the same people who are demanding a pay raise or whatever. I'm not opposed to any of that. I mean, if they work hard and they get the draw, I think that they should get what they deserve. But what I don't like is her horrible anti-American attitude, the foul mouth anti-American attitude, and she's really dragged us down and dragged the morale down in this country with her antics, right? So, and it's also funny to see her take a knee because, Colin Kaepernick took a knee. And even for him, it's kind of hypocritical because these people have never suffered in their lives at the hands of a police officer or the society at bay. They are look at them. Look at who's taking a knee. They're millionaires. They led a life of I mean, Colin Kaepernick grew up in an all white family, right? His mom is white, and the one who was terrible to him in his life was his father, who was black. And then she had a whole string of dudes who came through, all of them who were nasty to him. If he was taking a knee, it should have been for a child abuse, what his mother opened him up to. So I think that people need something to blame, you know, and same thing for the other one, Rapino, and then it's just take the knee. She's an overprivileged white lady, she grew up privileged. She's privileged now, you know. At what point are they trying to make us say, "Oh, I'm suffering. I'm a millionaire. I have all these things, but I'm suffering." They're not taking a knee for other people. They're just doing it to draw attention to themselves, like showing Britney showing her boobs. But if Rapino did it, people wouldn't look. They look the other way. There's nothing going on there. Some things, I gotta turn away from TV sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes if something goes on, I can't control it. The remote fast enough. I gotta look away because you can't unsee things. Like Britney's boobs. I just see a woman who's struggling, and my advice to her, if she's listening to the show, which she might be, she's crazy enough. I think you need to dedicate yourself to something that makes you bigger than what you are, and that's not showing your boobs. Showing your boobs to a bunch of horn dogs doesn't mean anything, and it's not something she's trying to do for herself. It's something that she's just trying to draw the attention. Yeah, people are paying attention. You know what they're saying? They're saying, "Wow, she's pretty wacky." So, all right. Let's see. Britney also referenced the ongoing "Free Britney" movement. Seems like she already did free the Britney too, you know, and that's fighting for her to be free for her conservatorship. She says the comments about it in the caption, I guess when she first posed, topless. I don't know. She said there's a way deeper meaning to the movement than you can ever imagine. My fans have always been so damn amazing, and I love you all. The movement, and here she is, topless. Spears' explanation for her topless photos becomes a few weeks after her series of nude pics started to stir concern among her fans who believe they were being posted without her consent. See, people couldn't even believe it. They're like, well, why would she do this? You got to try to wrap your mind around things, right? So, but she and her fans have a lot to celebrate because Spears' father, Jamie, finally agreed to step down as her conservator. Is that a good thing? This guy looked out for his daughter. He cared about her. He got her. She was broke and in debt, and he got her to where she's worth 60 million right now. So I mean, and he stepped down a few years ago anyway, and they agreed to have some corporation run it. So it's not really. They don't finish the sentence. It's just this woman who's 39, who has children, who's not relevant anymore, is posing topless, and she just, it looks like one of those ads of people who hit you up on Facebook that aren't real women, and they're trying to friend you, and it's like one then free sexy pics, X-rated pics, and all that kind of stuff. That it's just it's crass, without class, no dignity to it. There's a time and a place. Hey, if you want to pose nude, you could pose nude. That's fine, fine. But there's an artistic way, and there's also a crude way. So anyway, Naomi Osaka. You know who Naomi Osaka is? Maybe you don't. You probably don't. I didn't until I read this story. But she broke down in tears following an appalling press conference question. So here's another one who is really overly privileged, to the point where they're so overly privileged, these people. Any little bit of turbulence in their lives they can't handle, and they emotionally shut down, and then they go to see some psychologist who levies a whole bunch of syndromes on them and all these things. Oh, you've got this and you've got that, and we've got a name for that, and then they start relying on that. Then they define themselves in that type of mental condition. It becomes them, instead of having, you've got this problem or something to get over. It becomes the definition of what they are. So, all right. Naomi Osaka burst into tears and exited the podium following a question Monday during her first WTA press conference. And so she's a tennis player, right? And a very good one. She's winning, won all kinds of stuff. So you think that she'd be on top. But listen to this, right? All right. So she gets a question from a reporter, because she had come out and made a big statement that she doesn't need the media to be relevant and have anybody know her and blah 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 blah. So she basically attacked the media, and then blamed her mental condition on basically them. She have to, of course, like these guys, they all need to blame something. They don't ever take it upon themselves. And there are people who actually suffer that do have a blame going on of the person who did make them suffer, or is currently making them suffer, right? Anyway, so this reporter says, "You're not crazy about dealing with us, especially in this format, yet you have a lot of outside interests that are served by having a media platform." Cincinnati Enquirer columnist Paul Doherty said at the 5:25 mark of the video above. I know, I watched it. It was very funny. I guess my question is, how do you balance the two? And also, do you have anything you'd like to share with us about what you did say to Simone Biles? So, that's all the guy had to say. You can ask someone a simple question. If that person is so overly sensitive, they will take that and dissect every word and the meaning to every word, and they're going to apply their own perception to those meanings. So, all right. Osaka's agent steps in. Stuart Dudgood lambasted Doherty in a statement saying, the tone of the question was all wrong, and the reporter's sole purpose was to intimidate. So that's where you come your narcissism and your gaslighting. People overuse the term when someone answers something like that, and they don't really attack the content of the question there, or address the content of the question. They're addressing the way the question came across, the tone of the question. I don't like your tone. It's an attack, right? It's not an answer. The tone of the question was all wrong. It was wrong, and the reporter's sole purpose was to intimidate the beast, right? So Doherty's question was in a tone similar to others asking during the others asked during the press conference at the Western and Southern Open in Ohio. Right? News conferences have been a hot button issue for Osaka, who feels there are better ways for her to communicate with the public than sitting in a podium before or right after matches. She doesn't want to do it. She thinks that's a waste of her time, and she's required to sit and talk to reporters. You know what I mean? People that would love to do that, that would love to be in her position, but she has pinpointed something inside of her that makes her not, it makes her, it places her above a certain situation where she thinks that she is the best, the goddess, the one on top, and she shouldn't have to do these things. And then it's these people that are ruining her life with their questions or whatever, right? Or just listen to this. Right? Osaka, the number 2 women's tennis player in the WTO rankings, withdrew from the French Open after being fined $15,000 for skipping news conferences, which she said were not conducive to her mental health. In June, she revealed that she had been suffering long bouts of depression since winning her first major tournament in the U.S. Open in 2000. So she wins this tournament, starts suffering depression, right? And it just kind of makes you feel like you are in a place people would love to be. You are very privileged. The very fact that, I mean, anybody can suffer depression for any reason. She doesn't suffer depression because her mom died. She doesn't suffer depression because she can't meet her bills, or because someone's going to shut the power off on her. She's suffering depression because she won, which just goes to show you the frame of mind. On Monday, she responded to Doherty by asking what he meant by crazy about dealing with us. So she's dissecting his sentence. You're not crazy about dealing with us. And what was the crazy about dealing? She's not addressing what he said. She's addressing the she's dissecting sentences just like her agent did, and is on the attack. What do you mean by crazy? I would have stood up and be like, okay, Fruit Loops, answer these questions. You good at playing tennis? Can you answer a goddamn question? When Doherty clarified his earlier points, the 23-year-old Osaka said, "That's interesting. I would say the occasion, like when do the press conference, is what I feel most difficult. But sorry, I'm thinking. I didn't even, so that sentence is just like I read it exactly how it was written. Osaka then asked Doherty to clarify himself again. Can you clarify the question? Leave the crazy out. X-nay on the AZ cray. and, and when he did, she responded, ever since I was younger, I had a lot of media interest on me because of my background as well as how I play. I can't really help that I tweet or that I say that kind of create a lot of news articles. And I know it's because I won a couple of Grand Slams and I've gotten to do a lot of press conferences. So the only reason why people know who she is because she's won, right? If she didn't win, nobody would know who she was. She wouldn't have any fans. She wouldn't have any social media. So because she won, she does these press conferences. The press conferences keep her relevant. She thinks that she doesn't need the press conferences, that she is a special kind of person, that it doesn't matter, even though she acknowledged it is the press conferences and winning that got her the audience, right? And then she's like, I'm not really sure how to balance the two and figuring out at the same time. So it's just someone here, all you gotta do is these press conferences, after you win, you sit down, answer some questions from reporters, and you leave. You get your limousine and you go back to your mansion, right? And you go and you're done. She doesn't want to do it. She thinks that she shouldn't have to do it. She thinks that if she doesn't do it, then she'll be even more famous, right? So anyway, at that point, Osaka then looked up at the cameras and began to tear up. She wiped her eyes, pulled down her hat, and left the podium before eventually returning. This insinuation that Naomi owes her off court success in the media is a myth. Don't be so self indulgent. This is what her agent said. This is what agent's supposed to say. The bully at the Cincinnati Enquirer is so now the guy's a bully. Name calling, attack. The bully at the Cincinnati Enquirer is the epitome of why player media relations are so fraught right now. Everyone on that Zoom will agree. That was a Zoom call. Everyone on the Zoom will agree that his tone was all wrong and his sole purpose. So he just reiterated what he said earlier. His sole purpose was to intimidate. He's a bully. Really appalling behavior. Really? The guy didn't even ask a hard question. He asked a question about her lackluster of dealing with the media and how she thinks that she has the name that she has and has the presence that she has because she didn't need the media, but it is because of the media. This whole thing had nothing to do with her playing tennis, by the way. Had nothing to do with anything. It had to do with the drama around here. That's a lot of women, I gotta say, man. You know what I mean? I mean, men like their drama too, but damn. Doherty, who is also on Twitter, lists himself as a columnist for the Inquirer since 1994, has not publicly responded to Dugard's comments. Osaka took a break from major tennis events before returning to complete the summer for Japan. So she's coming back. She's playing. She's still playing. She knows in the back of her mind what she needs to do. She needs to play and win to stay relevant. She needs to talk to those reporters. But the princess in her brain tells her that she's too good for it, and she blames it on her depression. Really? She'll be really depressed, like Brittany. She'll be showing her boobs on Twitter when when no one likes her anymore. It's gonna be like that. So I don't know. It's just very. It's like these Olympic athletes, man. I really I only have about 9 minutes. Good. I really I, I, I just see an overprivileged crowd of people, and yeah, once in a while, some of them are from the bad neighborhoods or whatever, and they work their way through. That's cool, but most of them are just really overprivileged athletes. Their whole life has been geared towards that thing. Then they get to the moment and fail. Talk about a torrid situation, man. Training your whole life to get to a certain point and fail. Ugh. But I guess it's all in the game and good spirits. No one likes the Olympics anymore. The Olympics have been on a 30-year decline in their audience, scraping the bottom of the barrel. Nobody talks about it other than say negative things. So that's what the Olympics has become, you know. But this is a girl who used to be on the U.S. team, and she left the team because of some like she was like beating up people outside in the world. These soccer players are tough, man. You know what I mean? They'll kick your butt. Date a soccer player, some female soccer player, they'll kick your ass like it's a soccer ball. You're not gonna feel good either, man. Hope Solo, her name is. Is that Han Solo's daughter? She's tough, man. Accuses Megan Rapinoe of bullying the USWNT into kneeling for the anthem. So the whole thing, when a lot of them were still standing, a few of them kneeled with Rapinoe. Rapinoe, of course, is the outspoken, foul-mouthed, anti-American woman who's got the purple hair, or whatever. And you see her in the Subway commercials now, which makes me laugh because Subway, who was trying to clean up their image because they had a child molester as their spokesman for quite some time, you know, and he went to prison. They tried to distance themselves. They hire these athletes. I always know it's when the Olympics is around because the commercials feature people I've never seen before, and they look very fit and muscular. And I'm like, they must be Olympian athletes. Look at them. It's like that dude, even that dude Jake from State Farm, right? This is like one of the most racist things I've ever seen in my life, a corporation do. The original Jake from State Farm was just some dippy white dude who was in a cubicle. And, the original commercial was a guy talking to him 3 o'clock in the morning. His wife comes down, catches him talking, saying these weird things. And she's like, who are you talking to? And the guy's like, Jake from State Farm. And she grabs the phone. She's like, who is this? And he's like, this is Jake from State Farm. And she's like, what are you wearing? He's like, khakis. It went from that to this dude who was a football player, He's also Jake from State Farm, this light-skinned black dude, all buffed up. And every interaction he has in these commercials now is basically these women who are giving him free stuff, like stealing things from their businesses and giving it to him because, State Farm gave them such a great deal, that kind of crap, right? What offends me is they went from dippy white dude Jake to this, muscled up light skinned black dude. What's wrong with putting a dark skinned black dude named Jamal from State Farm, right? I mean, so this is what gets me about these companies. They're so racist, and their approach is racist, and they're trying to hook people in. Look, we're featuring this black guy now, whatever. No. I want to see real people on there. If I'm going to watch a commercial, I want to see real people. I don't want to see people who are these fake asses, Or they always paint everybody as wealthy too in commercials, right? Meanwhile, the actual person out there who's going to buy the product is just some normal old person, right? So whatever. But this is about Megan Rapinoe and why I'll never go to Subway. Not because of her. I can't stand Subway anyway, but yeah, they're in a war about their tuna fish. But now they got Rapinoe, so Hope Solo is no longer a member of the U.S. team, but she doesn't appear to be thrilled for the way things have operated over the past few years. In particular, she said she's taken issue with Megan Rapinoe's political activism, saying that the star player bullied her teammates into kneeling for the national anthem before games. Of course, because she's taken on the role of this controlling person, and then all these people actually have weak minds, and then they were able to easily be manipulated to doing that, right? Which brought shame to our country. It really, to me, it does. They are there representing the United States, not the politicians, not this other crap, but the people. The people, the people. Think about that. I think the rhetoric surrounding this team has been both divisive and inclusive. I guess it's kind of where we are in politics these days, Solo said. with her partner next to her, Chewbacca. I think the kneeling can be very divisive. I've seen Megan Rapinoe bully players into kneeling because she really wants to stand up for something in her particular way. Yeah, her particular way. Rapinoe, but she's notice in the Subway commercials, she's not kneeling. She's jumping through all these fire hoops, advertising their sandwiches, telling people to eat her tuna fish. Right in the Subway commercials, she's not taking a knee. She's not saying, "Oh, Subway, F America, F Subway," and take a knee. No, you know why? Because they won't pay her if she does that. It won't make the air. They'll kick her purple head ass out of the door, and then that'll be it. You know. But she can behave herself long enough to be in Subway commercials and represent an organization like Subway. You know what? They're not the loving, giving, caring organization. They are what they are. So whatever, man. These people are a bunch of hypocrites. Rapino and several of her USWNT teammates have made a habit of kneeling before games and have been highly outspoken on a number of issues, including equal pay in sports. However, not every player has kneeled. So, and there's been no reports of any backlash for players who didn't kneel. Well, ugh, look at this Rapino, man. She's got like an internal hate issues, man. Something going on. When someone is full of that much hate, there's something going on, man. I mean, granted, people have suffered all throughout the world, all throughout mankind, in the span of man. You're going to find people that suffer, but there's a way of getting people on your side for your opinions and not dividing people against one another. So Solo has not been a member of the team since 2016. That's probably why they lost. But she and Rapino were teammates for 10 years, beginning in 2006, winning a World Cup, and two Olympic gold medals together. Really, they don't have a lot of accomplishments for all the crap that they talk. Solo ended up retiring after a number of off-field incidents with Darth Vader. I mean, and it put a stain on her reputation. She was charged with assaulting two of her family members in 2014, and in 2016 was suspended by the USWNT for calling the Swedish national team a bunch of cowards after a penalty shootout. So yeah, she gets suspended for calling the Swedes cowards. Of course, people from Sweden are cowards. That's written on their byline when you enter Sweden. We're a bunch of cowards. She assaulted two of her family members. Maybe they were getting on her nerves. She's pretty cute, like a tough girl. But whatever, man. It just goes to show you that the reality of these, I'm going to take a knee and do this and do that. It all comes about the bullying, the browbeating, and all that. So people do things they don't normally believe in. How about equality for everyone? I'm willing to discuss that any day, any day. So that I'll leave for you on the show. If you go to Subway, you're supporting that Rapino and you're supporting everything that she stands for and whatever, man. I don't even know what the hell she stands for because her actions are opposite than her words. So if you're going to be real, be real. And if you're going to stand for something, don't take the knee and kneel down. Stand up. Stand up. Stand for something, and make a difference. Go out there and dedicate your time. I always look in these people's backgrounds and what they do when they donate their time and who they help. They help no one. It's very, very rare that you find even one of them that has any kind of want, need, nor desire to go and work with at-risk students, whatever. Colin Kaepernick did it for half an hour, went to go visit Oakland kids about 7 years ago. He does nothing for anyone. So, I mean, if you're going to talk the talk, you should walk the walk. I'll see you guys next week on the Red Pill News on United Public Radio Network, where the truth be spoken. Bye. No, I am your father.